Again, thank you very much for inviting. Rafael, thank you very much. It's really a privilege and honor for me to come and share experience. Yesterday, I know I showed some videos of the cases we've done. As Dr. Gustavo was saying, you know, even our open technique is very small now, 7 centimeter, especially from a living donor. Is there a role for all these minimally invasive? There is, because the truth is, at the end, sometimes kidney can be bigger, sometimes like this. It's good that as a surgeon, we learn all the different type of, you know, the gadget that is, you know, to adapt ourselves with time. And so we can only get better, right? I mean, to see Francisco doing all these things here, even with limited doing his lab, shows like how much, you know, the passion that he wants to get better, right? So now I'm gonna, instead of talking about the technique, I'm gonna talk mostly about the pumps. And why is that? Of course, my colleagues, surgeons here are very happy because I'm gonna tell about this. Because, and it's true, you know, and this is very true, So, yes, it is true that pumps are not yet already available here in Argentina. There are some, according to Francisco, there's 2 pumps. But you will see in time, this will become more common because at the end of the day, they will understand that we want to do more transplant, right? And this has really helped us, And at the same time, this has also helped us to show that unlike ischemia time we're so worried about, it is true, right? In the past, even me, when I finished my fellowship in 2008, I'm so worried, I need to put the kidney at 12 o'clock in the morning because I want the kidney to be like, as soon as possible it works and all these things, because that's how we were trained. But with time, we learn that, but unintentionally, right? So for example, if we get kidney from Los Angeles, it will arrive to me in 25, 26 hours, right? What will happen? What happened to those kidneys? Will it work? Will it not work? So this is where we learn. And once we learn, we get better. We understand that while cold ischemia time is a very important factor, it is not the only factor, right? So let me share you some of our experience and some of our data. So of course, transplant is a multidisciplinary team, right? The nephrology, the surgeon, they work together, right? Because we have the same goal, right? We have the same goal, which is we want to do more transplant, right? We want to do more transplant, definitely with great outcome. So it's not about convenience. You know, I've worked with Dr. Manuel, Dr. Gustavo. I can see the passion in their heart, how they do cases, and even with limited equipment, I can see how they're doing. I mean, just imagine if we give them that equipment that we use. They're probably going to be way so good in doing cases, right? If they have the proper equipment, right? So we want to have, you know, to do more transplant with great outcome, okay? So just to show you the total number of transplant that we have done at Cleveland Clinic, right? So I took over in 2017, late 2017. We were only doing about 140 kidneys. Now we are doing about 330, about 300s now. So we are actually, the only like 15 centers who really does about 300 transplant in the United States. Now what's my point of saying that? In order for us to do more transplant, we need to take more risks, right? I mean, and when you say you want to take more risks, it means that you cannot rely the kidney only on Northeast Ohio. You have to rely from Miami, from California, from South Carolina. We have to rely from those in order for us to have more kidneys. And in order for us to import more kidneys, it means that our ischemia time will be longer, right? And the reason why is, I was talking with Manuel, Dr. Francisco, Dr. Gustavo, Dr. Pablo here. We talk a lot about things. And I say that now in Cleveland Clinic, We don't operate anymore at night. We're very rare, except for kidney pancreas. Okay, kidney pancreas. But for kidney, we don't do it. We don't do it at midnight. We don't do it at 1 o'clock. We do it at 7. Sometimes, 6. One time I asked for 6 o'clock. The anesthesia called me because I had 2 kidneys and it was already like 30 hours. Anesthesia called me. Dr. Ree, why are you doing this at 6? Well, I said I only have 1 room, so I have to follow myself. Can we just do it at 7:30? The anesthesia asked me. And you don't fight. You have to find a common ground. I said, okay, 7:30, but cutting 7:30. Not like patients at 7 o'clock, 7:30, then cutting at 8:30. I said, patients should be in the room at 7:30 cutting. They said, okay, all right. So we respond, okay? And both patients are doing good, okay? So in order to import, and you can see, this is the acceptance rate. It means like how much we accept kidneys, right? So the middle one, it means that that's the national average, like the common centers. So you can see for us, especially the last graph, you can see, I don't know if there's a laser here.
El axis, perdón, la X y el axis X es riesgo, para la derecha más riesgo, para la izquierda menos riesgo.
It shows here that we accept more patients who are number 100 above on the list. So number 3,000, number 5,000, because it's coming from out of state, right? So this is our latest report, and I wanted to show you guys, look. When you say local, that means our OPO, Northeast Ohio. When you say another donation, it means import. We import. So our biggest suppliers, our biggest, the one who gives us a lot of organs are New York, South Carolina. Now I've just forged a relationship with Alabama. Okay, California, once in a while they call us. Like 2 weeks ago they called me, right? So you see, even we have import of 60%, and actually it was even higher during the COVID era because we were getting all the COVID. Right? Look at our DGF. I asked Francisco what was his DGF. He told me it was 60%. So it's a mostly brain dead. For us, it's mostly BCB, mostly import. But our DGF is still lower, okay? Does pump help? Yeah, but overall, it's still the quality of the donor, right?
3 days of them to stay.
Oh, and we send our patient home in 3 days, okay? Because we have outpatient dialysis, so of course, it's not applicable here because they say that if you send someone out here, then if they're dialysis, then that's a problem, But this is what I wanted to show you, like this one. Look at this. So this on top are the local DSA, which means from Northeast Ohio. So, of course, it's very close. That's why 60% of our kidneys are placed within 12 to 21 hours. Okay, 12 to 21 hours. Now, if you say, Dr. Reed, why did they cut it 0 to 11, 12 to 21, 22 to 31, 32 to 41, 42 out? Why this number? Why not 0 to 10? Why not 10 to 20? Why not 20 to 30? Because when they do the retrospective analysis, this is where that number shows that there was a difference. That's why they write it into this number. 0 to 11, 12 to 21, it wasn't 0 to 10 because it's 11. Okay, so that's how they did it. It's not like somebody just think about, you know what? Let's do 0 to 11. Let's do 12 to 21 or 12 to 20. No. These are supported by number statistics to say that these are the different categories. Right? So 30% is about 22 to 31 hours. Probably because we don't want to wake up at night.
Well, actually, the 0 to 11 hours, 0%. You don't have
0%.
anybody with the
Yeah, because now, the new allocation now, you won't even know that you're gonna get the kidney. They'll offer you the kidney. The kidney's already out, like 6-7 hours out. So each OPO now are changing how we're gonna do. So we don't know what's gonna happen, right? And then, well, sometimes 5.5 hours. These are the kidneys. Sometimes somebody accepted it and then nobody wants it, ship it back to me. But look, remember, most of our patients are import, right? Most of our kidneys are import. Look at that. 33% are between 32 to 41 hours. 33%. 33%. And about 2%, 42 hours and above. So if you say the number is 277, 2%, maybe 5, right? Because I'm still scared. More than 40 hours, I get scared. But it's the same. In the past, I was scared more than 12 hours, right? Then after 20 hours, I was scared. Then 24 hours, I'm scared. But hey, it's working. Then at 30 hours, oh, it's working. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine. 32 hours, oh, don't worry about it. We compute. So when I get a kidney offer, remember, when we get this kidney offer, we have not prepared the patient. So you have to make sure the patient didn't eat. So we will compute now. It's going to be 10 o'clock in the evening, plus 6 hours because I want to do it at 7:30 in the morning. So within 36 hours, let's do it. Right. So that's how we usually do it. Now, remember, the biggest difference between us is that 80% now of our donors are DCD. Brain dead is almost a bonus.
DCD.
Almost a bonus. Like here it's almost all bonus. Now it's almost all DCD. And they keep on pushing. It used to be DCD. Everybody knows what DCD is? Okay. So it used to be, DCD used to be, if kidney is 1 hour, kidney is 1 hour. Okay, after 1 hour, the patient didn't die, okay, bring back the patient to ICU. No longer. Now it's 2 hours. 2 hours, they wait. Only KDPI of 85% above is 1 hour. Everything below is 2 hours. Everything below. 84, going down is all 2 hours. So they wait for 2 hours. Because the lungs can wait for 2 hours, so everyone's waiting for 2 hours, right? And as you mentioned, as Dr. Pojo was mentioning, how come we don't see this 20-year-old with a creatinine of 1 and everything? Well, I'll tell you what. Number 1, multi-organ. They'll snatch those kidneys. Liver kidney, heart kidney, liver, kidney, pancreas, everything. That's number 1. And number 2, unfortunately, when they get a young donor, because I'm part of the OPO, I was an interim director because so out of conflict of interest, I have to get out or else I'll be in trouble. So, when they have a young donor, they want to allocate everything. They want to allocate heart, lung, everything. Now, these patients are on acute kidney injury already. So if they call the heart people will say, okay, I need a cardiac cath, I need this. So they do the cardiac cath, everything, creatinine goes up. So by the time we're going to procure the kidney, the creatinine is 5. Because it took 4 days to happen. Because at the end of the day, well, we want to make sure the heart is allocated, we want to make sure they use the lungs, we want to make sure we use the liver, you know. And sometimes the uterus even like try to get into it. So this is the pump that we use, and I know some of the people who came to really shows us it's an RM3, but they already discontinued this. They're going to change it to the RM4, so we're getting this now. And actually, this is cheaper than the LifePort that you guys have. This is the one in Argentina. Because, let me see. This one, you can put 2 kidneys. Okay, and you can, then this one now you can transport.
Yeah, but in the old version was not affordable.
Yeah, but no more, that was already
This
phased
one
out.
it is.
Phased out, it is phased out. The price, actually, I was surprised, it was the same. A brand new of this is about $25,000. This is the same. Actually, it's cheaper. And the cassette, of course, I was telling them in America they're always going to sell us more expensive, right? So the cassette is about $1,800 that can put 2 kidneys. So the question now is it worth it? Of course, expensive, right? I grew up in the Philippines, so I know we cannot just keep on doing things because it's expensive. You know, our resources are limited. So I understand that. I was joking with them yesterday when we were doing the stapling of the blood vessel. I said, no, only one. Because we will use the clip for the vein. And I joked with the nurse. I said, why did you open it? Don't bring her to trouble, okay? Don't bring her to trouble. So definitely the advantage is, as I said, you can set the time, right? You can always set it in the morning. Why is it very important to do things in the morning? Now, not because I'm a surgeon, I don't like to wake up at night, worry about, no, that's not the thing. I'll tell you that, that's not the thing. Because at night time, I get a lot of offers. So I still am awake. So I don't know, maybe Manuel is sleeping, but for me, I'm not sleeping. But the reason why is the reason why is at night time, we are not in our optimal, as human beings, we are not in our optimal condition. No matter what you're going to say. Yes, if you're 20 years old, yeah, maybe. But we're getting older, right? We're not getting younger. We're never in our optimal condition. Number one. Number two, all the people that you call at night, they're mad, right? The nurse is like, somebody called me like at night, you know, like, and then the anesthesia, like, oh my God, I have all this. So, everything is against you, everything. And then if you get a case that is so difficult, it's hard. Who are you going to call? Yeah, I know Pablo can call, you know, Manuel can call Pablo or Miguel, the night that, I have to wait for all this. But that's just how it is. It's the reality of life, unfortunately. And I used to wake up all these things I want to do at 12 o'clock, but I'm telling you, now I can feel it on my body, I can feel it. I can operate 48 hours straight, but now, after 2 kidney transplants, even though I only do it for 2 hours, I can feel the tiredness. You know, it's different. You know, things change. So you can set time. Definitely the increase of cold ischemia time, there's no question. Okay? But the key here is really to me, more than the convenience and everything, is really to gauge the microvascular flow. I'll give you a very classic example, and thank you to Francisco was able to download the picture. I don't know why I can't download it. Okay? Decreased DGF, there are papers that says decreased DGF and all of that. But of course, drawbacks will be costs. And technically, you have to need somebody to babysit, you know, like to make sure, or somebody trying to save money, they just put a camera on it, like in front of it, and then just watch it at home, you know, just to see the numbers are continue moving, right? So let me show you a classic example, and we just did this actually recently. So 22-year-old DCD, okay? Cause of death, drug overdose. Very unstable. When I say unstable, patient was on 3 pressors. So they wanted to do expedited DCD. What do you mean, what is expedited DCD? So most of the time, when an organ is offered to you for a DCD, we already have serology, we have this, we have everything, blood type, HLA, everything. But an expedited DCD, you don't have anything except blood type. Because this patient rolled into the hospital, 3 pressors, and then the patient is about to die. And then they have to go and talk to the family. So technically, like, there's no time to do the serology. The patient is very unstable. So, look at, of course, this patient was anuric, not making urine for 24 hours. Terminal creatinine 4. If I waited for another 2 days, it's going to be 12, right? But the funny part was, so there's we usually give heparin before we wheel the patient to the OR. Okay, the DCD, give heparin in the unit. The problem is, when patient is unstable, there is a protocol in Northeast Ohio when a patient is unstable, which I do not know what they define by that, you cannot give heparin. Okay, because maybe you'll be killing the patient, maybe that's the reason. So, you know, like this kind of cases, you don't want to argue because suddenly they'll say like, oh, you want the patient dying. You don't want that, right? So, the funny thing was, when the patient was wheeled to the OR, the patient died. Technically, bloodline while wheeling to the OR. So not even on the OR table, was just wheeling. So go directly to the OR, patient is dead already because you wait 5 minutes, put him on the OR table, open him up, flush, hopefully we'll be able to use it. Hopefully, right? I don't know if you can see the kidney, the color is not that nice, but you can see it's mottled, right? It's mottled. You see, this is well flushed. This is the color that you want, right? But look at this. These are all red. So you know that there is still blood and maybe clot or blood. You don't know, right? Because remember, when we flush through the aorta, we give 5 liters, right? And then we cross clamp. So technically, the kidney gets about 5 liters of flushing. But still, you can see white stuff, then all this kind of reddish thing, right? And then on the flip side, it's all red, right? It's all red. And then, this I think probably a better. The left one, you can see there's another one here. You can see mottled, red. So, like this one, they call me Dr. E. Of course, our fellow who procured it, of course, he's just a new. So he told the transplant, he told the coordinator, oh, this probably is non-transplantable. Okay? Of course, all the OP are crying already because, you know, nobody's going to use the kidney, right? So they called me, say, hey, Dr. E, it's yours if you want it. I said, okay. So I look at it, look mottled. So I asked them to put it on pump. And I wish I took that picture after that. 6 hours after it was pumped, color became completely normal, like a normal flush. And the pump number was nice. And I know that Francisco was asking me, do I use streptokinase and everything? For DCD in the past, like IU, they put the streptokinase in that, but with this, no matter how much you're going to do, you need something to push it. And that's where the pump is going to work. So we use it actually. So one was a 30-hour schema time, the other about 32 hours. So it worked, of course. I saw the creatinine stabilizing plateau. But so at the end, it's all about cost analysis, right? The selective use of pump. And it takes a village, right? The all of you to go and talk to the OPO government. It needs, but somebody somewhere. It needs to start somewhere, right? It needs to start somewhere because these 2 kidneys, if without pump, it could have been thrown to the trash, right? But because of that, we were able to use it, right? So with that 2 patients that we prevent from dialysis, saves money because we have to pay 2 cartridges of the pump, right? So that's gonna be where you guys gonna play a role in fight this. And again, it's not an easy fight. I understand that it's not gonna be easy, but at least it should be moving to that direction, right? And of course, I put this one again just for Dr. Manuel here because even liver pumps, liver now has their own pumps, and the reason why. Yes, they assess if the liver is good or not because they use, see, in the past, DCD liver was almost, nobody's going to use it. But now they put it on pump, and at the same time, they can put the pump, and it's funny because now they do, the liver now is following us. They operate always, they want to operate now at 8 o'clock. And to them, 8 o'clock means 9 o'clock, right? So, and it's funny because when we get 2 organs, liver and kidney, I always joke with them, hey guys, you know I'm going to do it the following day. So if you guys do the following day, I'm going to be the following day. Right? So I said, if you guys want to cut yours, you don't want me to do it after 36, 40 hours, you guys better do your liver. Right? So that's just the story of it. And let's see. And just to show you, of course, this is just to show you the decrease in, because why did I show this exact time? Because it was the time when I took over. Because before I took over, we were not pumping. We were selectively pumping. But after I took over, I pumped everything. Almost, if they can, pump everything. Look at our DGF. Of course, this is beside the technique and everything. As I said, pump is not all that, because I pump, my DGF is not. No, it's all the your surgical technique, your handling of the kidney, all these things. Yes, it does play a role, but it's not the only role, right? You can see, of course, we're back to 26% because the allocation was changed. This was based on the old allocation when you're getting the kidney before even before the kidney's out. But gone are those days. So you can see it dropped really from 31% to 4%. I think that's really much. Any questions, guys?
Questions?
Preguntas?
Preguntas? For Alvin?
No, it's good. No. So I heard that, and
What are the
I
pump numbers? They
Huh?
wanted to know the parameters that you use.
yeah. So
The parameters.
I forgot to mention Dr. Casada is here. So one of the pioneers that he mentioned. So you guys need his help to push to make this thing happen, right? We need pioneers like you to make things happen. What Emilio was saying. So it's again all comfort level. Okay, so a lot of the reason why sometimes we get more kidneys because, so for example, Indiana University, okay, they're also a big program, but we're bigger than them now, okay? They're monopolizing Indiana, right? They want a pump parameter, so there's only two numbers that we see, the flow and the resistance. So majority of program wants a flow of more than 100. And a resistance, 100 ml per minute.
ml per minute.
And at the resistance less than 0.3. Okay, 0.3 the resistance, okay? But for us, very frankly, we have used flow as low, even as low as 60. And the resistance up to 0.5. At the end, it shows. It shows, because the reason why we got bold is because we have one case. Everything looks so good. Then we put it on pump. The flow was like 50, and then the resistance was 0.6, 0.7, 0.9. The problem was the patient was a zero mismatch, 100% PRA. So I don't know what to do, I'm torn. So we went and talked to the patient and told the patient this is the problem. Do you want us to put it or you don't want us to put it? I told this number, usually it's not our criteria, but we don't know. He said, you know, Dr. Wee, nothing to lose, let's do it. So we did it. Kidney was working. I don't know. So, as I said again, it's not pump, it gives you, like this 22-year-old gives us a gauge that you can use the kidney, but it's not all telling to tell you that it's going to work or not. Because we have patients too with good pump, it never worked. Like Miss Karen.
Do you use some type of drug into the fluids to improve parameters in pump?
So my boss, Dr. Fleckner, he likes to do that. He likes to put verapamil. I think, because he wants his flow to be 100. But, I think it's the same. If the kidney is good, it's going to be good. I mean, don't use pump number as the only parameter, right? You have to look at it. You have to see what was the baseline creatinine, how does it look, and all these things. Then you just make your decision. As long as there's good flow, I say 60 above, and everything should be fine.
Yeah, sometimes you do some biopsies.
Yeah, look at biopsy. I mean, we just have to decide everything.
Yo le tengo que explicar, pero por ejemplo, en el programa de distribución asistólica, acá, si no logran, tienen parámetros picos, si tiene que estar por lo menos 6 horas bombeando. Cosa que,
Eso-
no, por eso, pero te cuento lo que hacen acá. Yo personalmente hay cosas que no estoy de acuerdo.
Uy,
Personalmente,
la cosa.
por eso, lo ponen, tiene que estar 6 horas. Pero si todos los parámetros están bien de inicio, ¿por qué demorar los días?
Exactamente.
Segunda cosa, si no se logra a las 12 horas la meta, que yo contaba algo, que pelea por una noche, te digo, le dejamos 20 horas con logística del receptor y después mejoró todos los parámetros, pero yo lo quería bajar con las 12 horas, me cumplía los
The
100.
problem here that I always complain about is regulated with policy. So they say, this is something
No, he mentioned that. He mentioned
more
that.
than 12, so then you cannot push me.
No, I mean, I talked to Francisco about that, but again, the nice thing about that person, he was mentioning to me, they're giving you a lot of assistance, but at the end they listen. So it means there's some hope, right? I mean, what I'm trying to say is that this is not going to happen overnight. Just because I came and talked to them, it's going to change. No. You guys have to work it slowly, and that's just how it is, right? I mean, just like us when we were adopters, even my own team didn't agree. When we were doing COVID kidneys, it was only Emilio. Everybody was against, even our own team was against us. You know, when we were doing COVID, all the, except for Emilio who was supporting me, everybody was like, oh, Alvin is crazy, Alvin is crazy, Alvin is crazy. That's what they all said. It's always crazy, crazy, crazy. It was only an infectious disease. Emilio said, Alvin, whatever you want to do, okay, I'll support you, you know, all these things. And then we did more than 120. We saved people, right? So, but it's not easy, especially like this bureaucracy, right? Cleveland Clinic has a lot of bureaucracy, just like I'm going to have a lot of bureaucracy. But we just have to continue pushing and pushing and pushing and showing like, hey, you know, this is it, and you know, then these people will change and then get better people and they will listen and you know, then these things will just happen. But it's not gonna happen overnight. All right, thank you guys, thank you.